Hello Slicey Dicers, this is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Minpin from Monterey Bay Knives. This is a new company, kind of new company, but from names that we know, it is a collaboration between Ray Laconico and Sanford Owen. They're now producing, having their own designs produced in production form. Really cool idea, and I also want to thank the company very much for providing this to the Apex Pass-Around group that I am a member of, and I really do appreciate that I think they actually sent us 2 of them, because it's a knife I probably wouldn't have got my hands on otherwise. From now on, I'm going to refer to them, for the sake of brevity, as MBK, because that's what they often refer to themselves as. That's what's in the logo. That's what's in on the lovely little packaging that comes with this lovely little pouch. The Minpin is a Ray Laconico design, as you can tell by the fact that it says Ray Laconico. All his designs have that. I just think that's the classiest way to put a logo on a knife. I think it's really, really cool. You're looking at a 3-inch little folder. I'm not going to say I'm in love with it. There are some things I like about it, but we'll get to it as we go on. But yeah, it's not going to be in a Knife of the Year award or anything like that. I can tell you that right off. Spoiler. But $225. S35VN, titanium, all titanium pocket clip, all that stuff. Yeah, the price isn't out of line for Laconico stuff, unless you look at like the Kaiser ones and stuff that he does, like the Gemini and stuff. They're a little cheaper than this, but yeah, not sure who makes this. They haven't really specified, and I have a very well-educated theory, but I don't know for sure. They haven't confirmed it, so I'm not going to throw speculation out there. Let's do some specs and some size comparisons before we get too much farther. You have an overall length of just 6.5 inches. You have a blade length, as I said, of 3 inches. The blade thickness is 0.15 inches. Pretty thick blade stock for a knife this size. Handle thickness of 0.48 inches. 0.45 inches. And a weight of 2.8 ounces. Let's compare it to some of our standards first of all. First of all, we'll show your our usual, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. You can see it's obviously smaller than a PM2. A more valid comparison would be the Spyderco Para 3. You can see it's just a little bit shorter than a Para 3. Make sure you get those pivots all lined up so I don't get angry comments. And now, compared to some more other kind of classy 3-inch knives that I have on hand at the moment. Your Benchmade Saibu, very similar in overall size to that. Your Mass Drop Gent. Let's see, very, very similar in size to that. And I haven't had it on camera in a while. The Three Rivers Manufacturing Neutron. Maybe that's why I don't have it on camera as much, because I have a really hard time saying Three Rivers Manufacturing without sounding like I'm slurring. And lastly, you know what, just since I have it sitting here, the new Crkt large Pilar. Again, pretty similar to that. You see, it's kind of your average 3-inch knife size. Talk more about it. As far as design-wise and aesthetics and stuff go, I think it's really nice. I really like the way it looks. I've always liked Ray Laconico's designs. They're always kind of a bit understated, which is what I like in a knife. And I really like that. I like the machined flats on the blade. It's got this kind of, reminds me a lot of the Wii finish, but I'm 99.9% sure this is not made by Wii. But it does remind me of that finish that Wii does now a lot, that kind of polished bead blast sort of thing. Pocket clip looks really nice. I like the look of this backspacer. I did not take this apart. I'm assuming that's G10. It looks like G10. It could theoretically be carbon, but I think it's probably G10. All the hardware looks nice, all that kind of stuff. And I like, the classic Ray Laconico holes. I like the way it looks. As far as the build quality goes, I do have some issues there. But I think we're going to get into that as things go on. I'm not going to lay out all of them right here. The blade, I do love the blade shape. As I said, the stock's a little bit thick, but it's like 23 thousandths behind the edge. It's acceptable behind the edge, pretty high saber grind, and it's have this nice little clip point blade. It does cut well enough, and I do really like that blade shape for regular use. There's kind of a choil up here you can kind of use, but obviously there's nothing to stop it. They did put a nice little sharpening choil in there. Very good with that. Came super, super sharp, I will say that. Very good edge on it. They did a great job. The blade is pretty good. Ergonomics is where we start to get into stuff that I have problems with. It is mostly okay. I like where my thumb rests. Very well thought out there. And most of it is okay. Typical Ray Laconico stuff. It's, you know, the holes give you a little bit of traction, but it's not going to, it doesn't quite fill your whole hand. But, you know, it's got that, Ray Laconico is not a fan of jimping, is what I'm trying to get around, taking a long way to say. But the ergonomic problem I have with it is right here. This is sharp. It's, I mean, it's not going to cut you, but it is not comfortable. The way it lands, again, I have large size gloves, skinny fingers, and it jabs me right in the palm. It really gets me, and it is not comfortable at all. And the pocket clip ain't exactly the cat's pajamas either. The front part of the front part of this really jabs me in the hand. Not nearly as bad as that. If this was rounded off, I would accept that. But the two combined together make this a knife that I do not enjoy having in my hand. Not really at all. Honestly, it's not a comfortable knife to hold, and that kind of ruins it for me. But we'll go on with the rest of the review. But based on that alone, I don't think I'd personally ever buy one of these. But different hands fit different things. I think if you have small hands, you wouldn't hit that, and it would be fine. But for me personally, this isn't something I could ever see myself using every day. As far as the carry goes, that it's again mostly okay. It's not deep carry, but it's a very subtle looking knife, so that doesn't really bother me that much. And machine pocket clips are almost never deep carry, so that happens. It is very slender as far as the height goes. You can see it's just over an inch, but it has a very small flipper tab, but it's a sharp one. Just the shape of it, there's no jimping or anything, but man, just the shape of it, it is not comfortable putting your hand past there. I definitely was catching my finger a whole lot on that. I did not enjoy that at all. 2.8 ounces, the weight's fine, all that stuff, but that, I wouldn't call it a pocket pecker because it's not sticking out very far, but it really gets you. It really, really does. And on the other side of that, I don't find that it works that great. This is one case they did need some jimping. My finger slides off this all the time when I'm trying to open it because the detent is pretty stiff on this. Now, if I owned this, I would probably tear it apart and, you know, bend the lock bar a bit and back the detent off a bit, but I don't. So in its current form, it is very difficult to open. You really got to do it with some real intent because there's no jimping to catch your finger there. And also, lockup's not particularly early at all. I mean, particularly good at all is the word I'm looking for. It's very, very early. And there is no lock bar insert, no over travel stop, and it does have gobs of lock stick. So, yeah, not terribly impressed with this. In case you couldn't figure that out, especially $225. I couldn't. I can't recommend this knife. I'm hoping others are better. I spoke to another reviewer who has a different one, and I think his may have been even worse from what he said. So yeah, I cannot recommend this. It's just not my thing. The lock stick, the ergos. Another reviewer already, I think, had this one and he loved it, so maybe his hands just fit it better. But for my hands and the lock stick and the very early lockup and the really stiff detent and that flipper tab, I'm not going to pile on. I love Ray Laconico's designs. I mean, gosh, one of my favorite knives that I own, if not my favorite knife I own, is a Ray Laconico, the Mass Drop Keen. I freaking love it. And I expected to love this. I honestly said, I think I said in the little chat group we do for this, when they said they were sending one of these out, I said, oh, well, that's going to cost me $225, because I thought when I handled one, I would want to immediately run out and buy one. But I was completely wrong, and maybe that's part of my negativity element. Maybe I'm just disappointed because I really wanted to like it and I don't. But there are some very quantifiable things that even show up on camera. I mean, you can't hide that lock stick. You can't hide that early lockup. The rest of it, I guess, will depend on your particular hands, but yeah, it's just not my thing. Sorry, it's not going to stop me from trying another Monterey Bay knife. They have the Easy C. I really want to get one of those. Maybe I'll buy one as an apology for this review, but yeah, this one's a hard pass for me. But I hope you guys have enjoyed watching a video about it. I've been Brian. Have a good one.